Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today we will discuss about the quantum numbers. What are quantum numbers? Students, you have discussed various concepts as you discussed about Rutherford's atomic model, Bohr's atomic model, and you also discussed the Planck's quantum theory. Students, you also discussed the defects in Bohr's atomic model. According to Bohr's atomic model, if there is one quantum number, if there is one energy level, it will be sufficient enough to discuss or to describe the locality or position of an electron within an atom. According to Bohr's atomic model, there are circular paths. There are circular paths in which electron is continuously revolving, and the position as well as the momentum of the electron, of revolving electron, can easily be predicted simultaneously with 100% accuracy. But according to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, it is not possible for a revolving electron, for an electron in an atom, to have same position and momentum, or fixed position and momentum. Means if an electron is revolving around the nucleus, then only one quantity or only one parameter out of position or momentum can easily be determined according to Heisenberg uncertainty principle. But according to Bohr's atomic model, both position as well as momentum can easily be calculated or determined simultaneously, but it is not possible. The defects of Bohr's atomic model were overcome by Schrödinger, Dirac, and Sommerfeld. According to different scientists, the modern concept is electron is actually a moving wave. Electron is moving wave, and the exact position of electron cannot be determined easily. Only the chances of electron around the nucleus at a point can be predicted. For example, if we have an atom having the nucleus, then around the nucleus there are certain energy levels. There are certain energy levels which we named as the orbits or shells. Means these are specific energy levels in which electron is revolving. But at which point, what is the specific point where electron is revolving is not predictable, because electron is a moving wave. Electron is a moving wave, and for a wave, exact position cannot be determined. It means around the nucleus where electron is found cannot be found exactly, but we can predict the chances of electron around the nucleus, and the chances of electron around the nucleus is its probability. It means if we have a shell or an energy level, then there are some other energy levels within the shell where electron can reside. For example, we have a specific locality. One can easily locate us or find us if he exactly knows or he has the idea of our locality, means the city and the sector or block in which we have a house, and a specific street, and then the house. So, for complete determination of position, one must have the knowledge of complete locality, and for complete locality, we just predict. For example, we say that someone is living in America, or someone is living in Pakistan. So how can we find where he lives? We can find by knowing in which province of Pakistan, in which city of Pakistan, in which sector or block of that city, and what is the street that belongs to his or her house, and then finally the exact house. So for exact position, there are different points, there are different localities for an electron. These localities are the main energy level, orbit or shell, the sub energy level within the shell, means the city within the country, and that sub levels are subshells, and within the subshells there are fixed points, there are fixed areas where electron resides, and that specific point cannot exactly be predicted, but chances of electrons can be predicted, and that chances are known as probability, means chances of an event to occur is probability. So according to Erwin Schrödinger, electron can reside around a nucleus like a moving wave at certain point where the probability of the finding electron is maximum, and there are about 95% chances for the electron to reside within that specific space, and that specific space is known as the orbital or orbiter. Hopefully you are getting the points. We have the main energy level, which is orbit or shell. There are some smaller energy levels within the shell, which are subshells, and within the subshell there are specific levels known as orbitals. The orbitals are actually the space around the nucleus. Orbital is actually that space around the nucleus, that energy level around the nucleus where there is more than 95% probability of finding electron. So we can say that orbitals are actually the houses of electrons. Orbitals are actually the houses or homes for an electron. So we have different energy levels. One is shell, other is subshell, and other one is orbital. All these are energy levels, and according to Planck's quantum theory, each specific state or each specific level is referred to as quanta or quantum, because energy is not emitted in a continuous manner, but it is emitted or absorbed in a discontinuous manner, in a manner of specific energy budgets or specific discrete energy packets, discrete energy levels. And what are discrete energy levels? Orbitals, subshells, and then shells. So these are specific energy levels, discrete energy levels. These discrete energy levels are referred to as quantum or quantum numbers. The numerical values for these energy levels, orbitals, subshells, and shells, these are discrete energy levels, and these discrete energy levels are known as quantum or quanta, and the numerical values for these quanta are the quantum numbers. The concept of quantum number was given by Sommerfeld and Schrödinger. Schrödinger gave his wave equation, and the wave equation of Schrödinger was the possible and probable solutions for an electron to reside around the nucleus or to reside in a specific energy level around the nucleus. So we can define quantum number as the numerical values. Quantum numbers are the numerical values used to determine the exact position of an electron around the nucleus in a specific energy level or in a specific quanta. In a specific quanta or in a specific quantum. The numerical values which are used to designate the exact position of electron around the nucleus in shells or subshells. So we can say that these are actually quantum numbers are actually the possible solutions of Schrödinger equation. Quantum numbers are actually the possible solutions of Schrödinger wave equation which are used to locate the electron around the nucleus. We have certain levels. What are these levels? Energy levels. We have energy levels at shells or orbits. Then we have a smaller level, subshells. Then we have the orbitals. This is the reason of splitting of a specific wavelength. We have read about the multiple structure or fine structure. Why we have fine structure? Due to this reason. We have some levels, orbital, then subshell, then the orbit. So we can find the exact position of electron around the nucleus by using the value, by using the term quantum number. In order to determine the exact position of an electron around the nucleus, Schrödinger gave three numerical values, and that three numerical values are the principal quantum number, principal quantum number, the azimuttal quantum number, the magnetic quantum number. These three were proposed by Schrödinger wave equation. But there is another level, there is another quantum number which is not actually determined by the Schrödinger wave equation, but these are actually for the revolution or rotation of electron, and these are the spin quantum number. These are spin quantum number. First of all, we will discuss about the principal quantum number. The principal quantum number is the main energy level quantum number. It is the main energy level quantum number. It represents the shells. It represents shells. If we have the knowledge of shells, then we can find size of the atom, and if we have the size of an atom, then we can say that, or if we have the idea of the shell, then we can say that electron is located at a certain distance from nucleus. So we can also find the energy of revolving electron as well as radius of an atom. The principal quantum number tells us about the main energy level quantum number. It represents the number of shells, size of an atom, the energy of revolving electron around the nucleus, and the radius of an atom. The principal quantum number, is represented by n, represented by n. The value of n can be a whole number, positive whole number, integer. A positive whole number, integer. N can never be equal to 0 or fraction or minus or negative. N can never be a negative integer. It can never be 0 or fraction. It will be a positive whole number integer. It may be 1, 2, 3 up to infinity, but we have only 7 periods, so we have total number of n is 7. Each value of n represents a specific period. For example, if we have an atom with one shell, we can say that it belongs to first period. If we have 3 shells, we can say that this specific atom belongs to third period, and so on. It means the main energy level also tells us about the period number. It also gives information about period number. It has the values of if n is equal to 1, it means we have k shell. If we have n as 1, then we have k shell. If n is equal to 2, we have l shell. If n is equal to 3, we have m shell. If we have n is equal to 4, which is n shell, n5 o shell, and so on. So principal quantum number is represented by n, which is used to determine the main energy level, the period number, the number of shells, size of an atom, the energy of revolving electron, the radius of an atom, and it has the values of 1, 2, 3 up to so on, but it can never be equal to 0, a negative integer, or the fraction. This is the principal quantum number. Now we have the azimuthal quantum number. It is also known as angular momentum quantum number. It represents the number of shells. It represents the number of shells, electrons number of subshells. It represents the number of subshells, number of electrons in a subshell, and size of a subshell, and so on. Shape as well as. It represents shape of shell as well, or it represents the shape of subshell. It represents the shape of a subshell. It is represented by L, and has the value of L will be equal to 1 less or lesser than the principal quantum number. For example, if we have n is equal to 1, then L will be equal to 1 minus 1, which is equal to 0. It means for a main energy level, for a principal energy level where we have only one shell, it will also contain only one subshell, or we can say that 0 subshell means shell itself works like a subshell. So for the value of n as 1. If we have first energy level, then we have only one shell. We do not have any subshell in first energy level. If we have n is equal to 2, L will be equal to 2 minus 1. So we have 1. It means the second shell has one subshell which have the value of 0 and other one as 1. So we can write it as S subshell. We can write it as P subshell. If we have n is equal to 3, L will be equal to 3 minus 1 which is equal to 2. We have D subshell. If we have n is equal to 4, we have L is equal to 4 minus 1 which is equal to 3 which is F subshell. S stands for spherical, P stands for principal, D stands for diffused, and F stands for fundamental. It means if we have the value of n, we can find the value of L, and it can be 0 and equal or lesser than n minus 1. The value, it has the value of 0 equal to 0 or greater than 0 and equal to n minus 1 or lesser than n minus 1. This is how we can find the value of azimuthal quantum number L, which is equal to n minus 1, and it has the values of equal or greater than 0 and equal or lesser than 1 less than n or n minus 1. So the azimuthal quantum number is angular momentum quantum number. It gives the information about the subshell, the electrons in the subshell, the size of a subshell, shape of a subshell, and represented by L, it has the values of n minus 1. As we have said that it can also be used to determine or to find the electrons in a subshell. How can we find the electrons in a subshell? In order to find the number of electrons in a subshell, how can we find? We can use number of electrons is equal to 2 into 2L plus 1. 2 into 2L plus 1. For example, if we have S subshell, then for S subshell, L will be equal to 0. For P subshell, L will be equal to 1. For D subshell, L will be equal to 2. And for F subshell, L will be equal to 3. Now by putting the values, 2 into 2 multiplied by, for S subshell 0, 2 multiplied by 0 plus 1. 2 into 0, 0 plus 1. 1 into 2, 2. We have 2 electrons. In S subshell, we have 2 electrons. In P subshell, 2 into 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1. 2 into 1, 2 into 1, 2. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 twos are 6. We have 6 electrons in P subshell. Similarly, we have 2 into 3 multiplied by 1 plus 1. 3 ones are, 2 into, for D subshell, we have value 2. 2 into 2, 4, plus 1, 5, and 5 twos are 10 electrons. We say that D subshell has 10 electrons. Then we have 2 into value of L. For F, we have 3 plus 1, which is equal to 3 twos are 6 plus 1, 7. 7 twos are 14. We have 14 electrons in F subshell. So we can find the maximum number of electrons in a subshell, which are 2, 6, 8 and 14. Students, there is one thing that we have. If we have the value of azimuthal quantum number, then we can find easily the number of shells, the number of subshells within a shell. For example, if we have L is equal to 0, it means there is only shell which is S shell as well as S subshell. If we have L is equal to 1, we have two values, 0 as well as 1. So we have 1 and 2, means 1 is for S and 2 is for P. So we can write as 0, 0 and 1. We have two values. 0 and 1. 0 for S and 1 for P. For second shell, where N is equal to 1, N is equal to 2. So we have 2S and 2P, and we only have 1S. Similarly, if we have N is equal to 3, then L will be equal to 2, and we have 0, 1, 2. We have S for 1 P, and for 2 we have D. So we have 3S, 3P and 3D. 3S, 3P, 3D. Similarly, if we have 4, N is equal to 4, L will be equal to 3. So 0, 1, 2 and 3. This is for S, this is for P, this is for D and this is for F. So we have 3S, 3P, 4S, we have fourth shell, 4S, 4P, 4D and 4F. This is the azimuthal quantum number. We can also find the angular momentum of a revolving electron in the subshell. How can we find the angular momentum? MVR is equal to H over 2 pi under root L into L plus 1. We can easily find H is the Planck's constant, 2 pi is the constant, L is the value of azimuthal quantum number. We can find the angular momentum for a subshell, shell or subshell. We can easily find the value of angular momentum for a shell or subshell. How can we find? MVR is equal to H over 2 pi under root L into L plus 1. For first shell, N is equal to 1, L is equal to 0. Means you can easily use the values of L and find the value of MVR, angular momentum. This is the azimuthal quantum number. Then we have the magnetic quantum number. We have magnetic quantum number. What is magnetic quantum number? That quantum number which gives information about number of orientation. Number of possible orientations of the shells or subshells in three-dimensional space. For example, we have the magnetic quantum number. We have a specific energy, we have a specific wavelength, and when this wavelength is subjected to magnetic field according to Zeeman effect, the magnetic field splits that specific energy or that specific wavelength into further shorter wavelength or further wavelengths or energy levels. So that splitting is Zeeman effect, which is according to magnetic splitting or magnetic field. So if we have a specific energy level of shell having some values of subshell subjected to magnetic field, it will be splitted further into different space orientations along x, y, z plane, and that specific orientations are known as magnetic quantum numbers. So it gives the orientation of different orientations of different shells or subshells. If we have shells or subshells, they have orientations, then these orientations will be orbitals. It means magnetic quantum number gives information about the orbitals. What are orbitals? The space around the nucleus where there is a probability of finding the electron, or where there is a maximum probability of finding the electron or residence of an electron around the nucleus. So magnetic quantum number gives the information about the number of orbitals and their space orientations. It is represented by m. It is represented by m, and its value can easily be found as 2l plus 1. The value of magnetic quantum number can easily be found by using the equation 2l plus 1. For example, if we have n is equal to 1, then l will be equal to 0. Then l will be equal to 0. It means we have s subshell. We have s subshell. We can easily find the number of orbitals within the s subshell. How can we find? By using this value. M is equal to 2 into value of L, value of L, azimuthal quantum number for s subshell. We have read that for s subshell, the value of L will be equal to 0 plus 1. It means 2 into 0, 0 plus 1. We have only one value of magnetic quantum number for s subshell. So s subshell is not separated by magnetic field due to its spherical nature. Spherical nature, as S stands for spherical, and spherical nature is symmetrical. S subshell is symmetrical, and if it is symmetrical, it cannot be separated by the magnetic field. So it has only one value of magnetic quantum number, which means it is not separated further. For P subshell, if n is equal to 2, or if we have P subshell, if we have n is equal to 2, n will be equal to 1. Then m will be equal to 2 into 1 plus 1. 2 into 1, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. It means for P subshells, there are 3 values of magnetic quantum numbers, and these values are 0, plus 1 and minus 1. 0, plus 1 and minus 1. Similarly, if we have n is equal to 3, then L will be equal to 2. So m will be equal to 2 into 2 plus 1 is equal to 5. We have 5 values of magnetic quantum numbers. So what are those 5 values? 0, plus minus 1 and plus minus 2. It means when D subshell is subjected to magnetic field, it is split into 5 different orientations along the 3D space, XYZ space. If we have n is equal to 4, then L will be equal to 3. It means m will be equal to 2 into 3 plus 1 is equal to 7, and those 7 values are 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2 and plus minus 3. We have 7 values. We have 7 space orientations. So we can find the orientations. How can we find? For example, we have P subshell. Along XYZ, X, Y and Z, or Z. X, Y and Z. Along XYZ planes, we have 3 orientations, 3 possible space adjustments for P subshell. For D subshell, we have 5 space adjustments or orientations. For F subshell, we have 7 space orientations or space adjustments. But in 3D space, we have only 3 planes, but possible orientations or adjustments are 0 or 1, then 3, then 5 and then 7. So this is the magnetic quantum number. But one thing, in the absence of magnetic field, all these space orientations have same shape and same energy. In the absence of magnetic field, all these space orientations like 3, 5, 7, 3 of P, similarly 5 of D and 7 of D, all have the same energy and same shape, and they are known as degenerate orbitals. In the absence of magnetic field, all the possible space orientations are known as degenerated orbitals because they have same shape and same energy. This is the magnetic quantum number, which gives information about the splitting of a specific subshell into different space orientations along x, y and z plane. Now we have the spin quantum number. Dear students, we have an atom having a shell in which an electron is revolving. There are two possibilities for an electron to revolve. One is, this is a nuclear axis. It can rotate along anti-clockwise direction or along clockwise direction. There are two specific directions. We have this one, a nuclear axis. Electron can revolve as it is clockwise rotation, or it can rotate along this direction. This is anti-clockwise direction. There are two different directions or two different states of rotation. What is spin? Spin is self-rotation or rotation along own axis. If we have a substance, if we have a particle, it vibrates or rotates along its own axis, it will be the spin. The spin movement may be clockwise or anti-clockwise. How can we find the rotation as clockwise or anti-clockwise? When an electron is subjected to an external magnetic field. For example, we have a magnetic field having the direction of this one, south towards north, and we have another one having the direction of this one. Magnetic field is upward here, downward here, and if electron is subjected to this magnetic field, it will rotate as or it will rotate as there are two possibilities. It can rotate along clockwise direction or it can rotate along anti-clockwise direction. So there are 50% chances for an electron to revolve, and those chances are either clockwise or anti-clockwise. How can we show it? We can show it as this is the direction of magnetic field and this is the direction of rotation or spinning. This is the magnetic field direction and this will be the rotation. If electron rotates in clockwise direction or if it rotates in anti-clockwise direction, there are two possibilities. So we have a doublet line structure according to Gauss-Schmidt. When electron is subjected to external magnetic field, it will rotate in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. There are 50% chances for clockwise direction and 50% chances for anti-clockwise direction. So we have the sum of spins will be equal to 1. So we can say that we have 50% chances of clockwise and 50% chances of anti-clockwise direction. you can use the sign as plus or minus. If you use anti-clockwise as minus, then clockwise will be as plus. If you use anti-clockwise as plus, then you can use anti-clockwise as minus 1 by 2. So in general, you can write it as plus minus 1 by 2 Plus minus 1 by 2 is the rotation or spinning of electron about its own axis. So for clockwise direction, you simply use upward or anti-clockwise. And downward or clockwise. This is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. And you can use plus minus. If you use anti-clockwise as plus half, then you can use minus half for clockwise, and vice versa. You can exchange them, but the total spin will be plus half and minus half. This is the spin quantum number, which gives information about the spinning movement of an electron around the nucleus. So we have 4 different levels, 4 different energy gaps, or we can say that 4 different energy packets or discrete levels. The one is principal level, determined by principal quantum number, having these characteristics. Then we have azimuthal quantum number, similarly the magnetic quantum number, and we have the spin quantum number. All these 4 quantum numbers are well enough for the determination of complete position of an electron around the nucleus. So these are the quantum number values and quantum numbers. The numerical values used to determine the exact position of an electron around the nucleus. Hopefully you got the concept. For any query, you can ask a question. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.